starting on port and heading right.
But we can see Brazil, they're still back in 8th place. So currently as things are, Netherlands is the leading team.
Netherlands are the 2019 49er FX World Champions.
Annemiek Bekkering and Annette Duetz became the first team to win back-to-back world titles in the 49er FX skiff, first in Denmark 2018, then in New Zealand at the end of 2019. Hi, my name's Andy Rice. I'm a sailing journalist in the UK, and joining me from Holland today are the double world title winners, Annemiek and Annette. So, hello, ladies, and how is lockdown going for you in the Netherlands?
Hello. We are quite good, actually. I think we're lucky to be in Holland. It's stay at home, stay safe, but you can still go out on the street and keep your distance. So we try to be safe. We try to be smart. We are lucky that the weather is great, and we do a lot of bike riding. Yesterday we went around the lake for 5 hours, and we spend our time well, staying fit. And the government is quite flexible for us, and soon we can go sailing as long as we are smart and don't use buildings or don't see too many people. Then it's going to be good.
Okay, and Annette, how is it for you so far?
Yeah, it's good actually. It's like it's a bit different. We get to spend quite a lot of time in Holland for once. I think that's new for us all. But it's alright. What Annemiek's saying, we can do most of our physical training at least. So we got some gym equipment from the federation. So we're not allowed to use their gym, but I have now a whole setup at home and using some bars and some weights. So it's a bit different, but it's alright. Yeah.
What were your thoughts before the Tokyo Games was finally postponed for a year, when it went back to July 2021? Were you still hoping that it was going to go ahead for this year, Annette?
I think a little bit mixed, because I think quite soon it started to look like it wouldn't happen. So then I think it was at the end, it was quite nice that they made the decision, and it was safer, and it got some clarity for us all too. So that it actually would happen the year after. It was still disappointing, because of course we want to go to the games coming summer, but I think this was for sure the best option, and it was good to get some clarity sooner than later.
Annemiek, whenever I ask an Olympic athlete what plans they have beyond the next Olympic Games, it seems to be like some gaping hole where no thought has gone into that whatsoever. Did you have anything that you were looking forward to doing in August, September this year, when the pressure of the games was all over?
Yeah, so I actually gave myself half a year off to do whatever I wanted to do, go on the trip and all that. But it doesn't matter. I think we have a great life, and it's super nice, the sailing we can do and all the sports next to it. So that big trip has to wait for another year, and then I'll definitely go on a nice adventure, but not too disappointed about it.
Well, we're going to look in a moment at a really critical race for you from the World Championships of 2019, which took place in Auckland. But firstly, Annette, just tell me how long you two have been sailing together now. When did it all begin?
I think it's like over 6 years. It actually started in New Zealand, in Auckland as well. So we went there for a whole winter camp, and that was the first time we actually sailed together in a boat. It was a choice by the federation to try to see if we would be a good match, and we liked it. So it was also special to be in New Zealand again, to be there where it all started.
Okay, so 6 years, that's going quite a while, and you've had some very obvious high points along the way, 2 world titles, and I also remember that medal race, Annemiek, last year in Weymouth at the Europeans. What a critical race that was. It wasn't a lot of wind, but it was still very, very dramatic. Now, just before we got on the call, Annette was saying that you don't remember anything of these races, so Annette may need to prompt you, but what do you remember about that medal race, and just tell us why it was so important in Weymouth?
Well, it was so important because it was our selection, and we needed to sort of win the Europeans or become second to qualify for the games. And 4 years before that, we had the same moment in the medal race to qualify, and we didn't make it then. So it was quite tensed, and it has been something we worked on for the last 4 years to be able to sail well when the tension is high or when there's a lot of pressure on. So that was first of all like, okay, it was a medal race with some result outcome that would influence us. And what I do remember from this one, that we went into it and we said we're gonna attack it, and we won the pin, I think. Is that right? Yeah,
that's right. That's what you needed to do, and you executed brilliantly.
Yeah, and then I think that was the good thing. That the thing I remember from that race is that we just executed what we had in mind, and we went for an attacking strategy, and that gave us the thing we came for. Yeah,
it was amazing to watch. And you mentioned just then about learning to sail under pressure. Annette, tell me how you learn that skill. I think some of us mortals think that this is something that you're born with, that you can't really learn. But for those of us who might want to learn how to cope with those pressure situations, how have you and Annemiek worked on that part of your game?
I think it's quite tricky to work on because there are not many situations where you feel that much under pressure. So I think if you have those situations, you really need to take your learnings from that. So I think for us, it's getting to know yourself, how you would react under pressure. And I think for us, it's, for example, getting a little bit quiet and talk a little bit less to each other. So we then, during that medal race, really focusing on talking to each other. So I think it's mainly just getting to know how you react and get some tricks to prevent it.
Speaking to Steph Roble and Maggie Shea about them winning the medal race at the Worlds in Geelong early in 2020, they said they were going to go there and enjoy it. Is it possible, Annemiek, to enjoy those moments when you're feeling the pressure, and this is the moment where you may or may not go to the Olympic Games?
Yeah, I think that's also one of the things we have learned, that like, okay, even if it doesn't work out, of course you're disappointed, but at least enjoy the race and enjoy the whole build-up. And for us, the Europeans, was like the whole event was quite pressured. But the biggest thing we said, let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy every race. Let's attack every race. And also this medal race, I think it was super, super, super exciting. And like you cannot eat in the morning because you're so nervous. But it doesn't mean you cannot enjoy it, because I think we were laughing before the race and we were talking to people, and you can still enjoy the surroundings. And I think we also try to say now, okay, we are feeling nervous, let's enjoy this, because it's a special feeling that not many people have this excitement, or being able to get to that situation is quite special, so you better enjoy it.
That's a good way of looking at it. And nerves and excitement, you mentioned those two words in the same sentence. Is it partly about turning those nerves into something more positive, like excitement?
Yeah, I think definitely, because if you see the nerves as a threat, it's not gonna help. But if you see the nerves as excitement, and it's like a build up to an event, and you know you're ready, you know you've done everything, and then if you get those nerves, then like, oh yes, it's gonna start. And of course, in the end of the event, if you're doing well, it's a bit more. But that's also a good thing, because if we don't have it, then we know we're not having a good event. So it's like, okay, the nerves are there. Okay, let's make it a good one, and let's also enjoy it. It's part of what we do.
Part of the reason why you were under pressure was because Annette, the other Dutch team did so well in the event in Genoa at the Sailing World Cup event a few weeks earlier, when there was very, very little wind, and it was very specialized kind of racing. We saw a lot of upsets, a lot of good teams that didn't make it onto the podium. Some didn't even make it into the medal race. It was a pretty wild and wacky regatta. How did you feel coming off the back of that? Did you feel that that was unfair, or was that a fair regatta to have used?
I think it was not necessarily unfair, and I think it's like, actually for them it's really, really special to sail that well, especially for your first selection event. And I think the first event they actually won, so like it's really, we were both like quite impressed in how they sailed that. So that was quite good. And we didn't sail very well, but also we sort of kept it together and we managed to finish all right, or we didn't like, we sailed
Something
all
like
right. So
sixth place or something, was it?
I think we got a ninth, or it was
Ninth,
not
was
a
it?
good
Okay.
result.
Oh, okay.
But we said like, oh, we only need to change a few things and then we would actually sail well. So we said we were like quite sort of confident that we could sail the Europeans in a good way. So it was a bit mixed, but it was not only that we said, oh, we can't sail, but I think they just sailed really well, and it's really impressive how they did that.
Yeah. Now, that event was due to have taken place just a few days ago from when we're talking now on this call. I don't know if you were going to be going or not, but I was going to be there reporting on it. And from my understanding, I think there were about 16 nations that were still racing for one remaining place in the Finns, for example, one remaining European spot. I mean, that would have been a very, very interesting high pressure regatta for those 16 Finn sailors. What were your thoughts about going there again? Were you, now that you're qualified, I guess you have a bit of choice about how you spend your time. Annemiek, were you thinking of going there?
No, when we were on the plane home, we said we never go back again to Genoa. Maybe on a holiday, but not for sailing.
Right, okay.
We were not going, but yeah, no, I think you need to be able to race everywhere, so no excuses there. But we said let's just skip this one. And no, we wanted to go to Japan at this moment actually, so it didn't fit in our schedule as well.
Okay, all right. No, fair enough. But yes, let's put in a good word for Jenna. I agree. Go
Yeah.
there on holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, you won your first World Championship in Aarhus in Denmark. Now, there seems to be a bit of a theme in the last 3 World Championships. I don't know if this has occurred to you, but in the medal race of the last 3 FX World Championships, there's been a capsize which has been critical to the outcome of the race. So just tell us about the scenario that took place, Annette, going into the final medal race of Aarhus, Denmark, because you were up against the Austrians, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. We had quite some distance and points towards them, but before the medal race said like, whatever, we are going to win a medal race and try to win the gold medal. So it was, I think, quite a tricky thing to do. So, but we just were able to sail our own race. So we sort of should forget about them anyway, because I think we were in for the gold medal with 4 teams, if I remember correctly. So we just wanted to sail our own really good race, and then we would see what happened.
And unfortunately for the Austrians, there was a massive wind shift, I think, wasn't there? Really big wind change, and they ended up capsizing, and that capsize was really the thing that cost them the gold medal and gave you the opportunity. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I think we were so focused on our own racing that we didn't notice straight away, and so it's like, oh, there's a boat capsized. Oh, maybe we are actually able to win it. So that was a bit mixed, because of course you don't hope on a boat will capsize, but yeah, it was a strange moment. But we were really happy how we sailed our own race at that moment.
So once you've won one, Annemiek, does it make it easier to win the next one?
No. But nah, I think when you win one, you're super happy and you know you're doing the right things. But you have another year before the next Worlds is. It was more than a year, so you just still need to train super hard and focus on all the good things and the things you want to improve. And going into the Worlds in Auckland was not like, oh, we won the previous one, so this is going to be easy. Not at all.
It must have felt like ancient history. I mean, at least you got to enjoy being world champions for such a long time. I mean, what was it? Nearly 18 months.
It was super long. Yeah, we liked it. Yeah.
Of course.
But then the second one was only 2 months or so. So in the end, yeah.
It sort of balanced up in the end, didn't you? So you didn't get to enjoy the 2019 world title quite so long. Now, Annette, just remind us of this scenario going into the medal race in Auckland. Do you recall what you needed to do and who the major contenders were?
Yeah, so we and the Brazilians, Martina and Kina, we were on equal points, or we were just 1 point ahead. So for us, it would be who finished in front of the other one would win the gold medal, and the other person would win the silver, because I think we had quite a big lead to the rest of the fleet in the medal race. So it was very exciting. We were mainly racing the Brazilians at that moment, but at the same time, it was also very windy and choppy. So you're also just racing yourself.
And that is the thing about hard boats like this. So much the battle is producing your best performance and not really worrying about what the others were doing. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So let's, we're just over 1 minute to the start. Doesn't look like there's many boats around yet, not much of a pattern. So in these kind of breezes, the port tack start can also be quite powerful. But do you remember which side of the course you wanted in this race, Annemiek? No.
It looks like we're gonna.
That question.
I think I remember we went out to the right in the beginning, didn't we? I think we did. But what I do remember is that there were on both sides there was wind. So I think you had to choose either right or left and make that side work.
Okay, you can go in the middle.
I think that's what we said, right? Both sides, a little bit around the Wangitoto Island, there would be wind coming. And then I think also here is what we go for, like quite a attacking strategy. Let's not do something half, but if like we say we go right, let's go right.
So at the moment you're at the far end. At the moment you're sort of in between tacks. It looked like you're just sort of hovering head to wind at this point. And there are the Brazilians. We need to keep an eye on Brazil number 4. They're quite poked out towards the line, but there's only 5 seconds to go, and it looks like there's a bit of a gap. I'm wondering how competitive this start is going to be. It's going to be a good start by one of the Danish teams at the far end. And where is Netherlands 1? I see Netherlands 6, but here's Netherlands 1. So you've started on port tack. And Annette, tell us how you're feeling. Have you executed the start you wanted?
Yeah, I think we were quite happy with the start because we wanted to be the lowest boat on board. And we managed to sort of get a good timing and looking the last boat on the right side of the line. I think we were quite happy here.
Okay, and it's looking quite wavy. It looks quite difficult to keep the boat in the groove in these conditions. Quite lumpy sailing. Annemiek, how do you keep the boat going at top speed through these conditions?
Yeah, so it was super choppy there. And I think the biggest thing is like, don't get stuck high, just keep it going. Go for easy setup and be a little bit in sync with each other. But like you see all the boats jumping, which it just makes it a bit harder and makes it important to keep it quite simple what you do. So you can actually have an overview, like you see me looking around here. The boat needs to feel stable in these conditions to be able to look and race.
And how much are you aware of the Americans? Are you aware that you're sort of in a tuning battle with the Americans at the moment?
Yeah, I think we know, like straight from the start, they first look like they push us a little bit, or they're starting to roll us. But I think there, if we then just focus on our own speed, and here when we are popping out, you get a bit more comfortable. And when you can actually get the tack in, you'll come back on starboard. So it is quite strong position, I think, at this moment.
And the blue line says that you're in the lead. Obviously, that isn't always correct. But how are you feeling at this stage? I'm assuming, Annemiek, I should be asking you, because Annette, you're mostly looking forwards, focused on boat speed. Is that right? So, Annemiek, how do you feel about your position on the race course compared with the boats on the far side?
I think at this moment quite happy because we go a bit extreme, and we still have a good lane to the right. And we know we'll come back on starboard. I don't exactly remember what we were thinking in the boat, but I think we're happy. And since it's such a smaller course in the medal race, it's good to attack and then get back to the top. And you can always readjust your strategy from there.
Now
But
that to me looked like a good tack. A little bit of problems just getting onto your trapeze ring there, Annemiek. But in terms of the movement through the boat, happy with that tack?
I think happy, and the British tack underneath us, but it looks like there's enough space to sail like a VMG. So then I think here we're still quite happy, and I think we tacked on ley line, but I'm not 100% sure.
We'll find out. I'm sure Annette knows the answer already, but let's save it as a surprise for Annemiek.
Yeah.
So those Brits are pretty fast in a breeze, aren't they? So do you think you can hold your position with them just to leeward of you, Annette?
I think we could hold a bit of a higher lane. I think they were just a little bit faster, but we could keep a good lane above them.
Okay. But the boat that you're really thinking about, top left of screen, there they are. They're on the right of our picture now. It's Brazil number 4. Annette, what was the points gap between you and the Brazilians going into this medal race?
I'm not completely sure, but it was less than 2 points. So whoever would finish ahead, we would win the worlds.
Right. So it was a straight fight, but it wasn't as straightforward as a simple match race between two boats, because there were others that could perfectly well catch you, such as one of the Danish teams, the Norwegians, Lutz and Boyka from Germany, and probably some others as well. It looked like it was quite open according to the points.
No, I think actually we would win gold or silver no matter what we would do.
Oh, sorry. Okay, fair enough. So in that sense, it is a match race between you and Brazil. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but because of the conditions, we said we cannot match race in these conditions. You cannot control the other boat in this job and win. So better attack the first upwind, and then from there you can sort of defend a little bit and go with the other one if you're ahead.
Well, you're ahead at the moment, so this is a critical cross here between you and Brazil. So you get first blood, you win the first cross. Now, Annemiek, this is really important that you're on the ley line here. If you have to tack again, then your lead is not so clear. But can you remember yet? Were you on the ley line?
Yeah, so I just had a look. I think we were not on the ley line, like you see here. And I do remember that we crossed them. So that's nice, but it doesn't say much, because just crossing, maybe the next one they are ahead. But I think here we were still quite confident in what we were doing. So it was okay to let them go right of us. I think that was like the biggest thing for us this race, that we were quite okay with our own plan.
Okay. So we're looking at Germany 29. That's Tina Lutz and Suzanne Boyka. And they're wearing the red jersey for being in third going into the start of the day. And it looks like the Germans are going to lead into this first mark. But we need to also watch out how you're doing compared with some of the others. That's Santiago Langer and Anakra. He's nothing to do with our race. So Lutz and Boyka setting up, Tina Lutz getting into the back foot loop, just about to do the big bear away. And in these choppy conditions, that can be quite hazardous in the FX, I would think, Annette. You've got to be careful on this hoist, don't you?
Yeah, and on the hoist and on the bear away, especially because it's windy and choppy. So getting a nice rounding in is really important.
Okay, Dobson and Tidy from Great Britain just about to go around. So quite a gap to Lutz and Boyka. They've got quite a good lead at this stage. And then we've got Bad Nielsen and Olsen, and then round go our Dutch girls in fourth. So you're one place, just 2 seconds in front of the Brazilians, who go into a jibe, and they've just gone out of picture. The Brazilians had a bit of a sketchy jibe, but they've done the jibe set. So you're going on starboard, they're going on port, and there's a separation developing between you and the Brazilians. Annemiek, what are you thinking tactically at this stage?
Yeah, so here that they make a jibe set is quite smart, I think, just to separate. I think still with the chop, we are happy to go for a straight set and go back for a nice ley line. But I do think this is a moment that we talk about, okay, they have jibed out, they are on the other side. Let's keep looking at them and make sure that they do not get too much advantage of us.
So you're the first to jibe out of your group that were on starboard. You're now jibed onto port. Your boat speed's still a little bit down, but I saw just before you jibed, you were hitting speeds of 18, maybe even 19 knots. And I'm wondering if the FX is at times faster than the boys 49er downwind. Have you ever done any boat speed testing against the boys in these conditions?
I think there's not much difference in the boat speed downwind when it's super windy.
Okay, so windier than what we're looking at here.
Yeah. Do you know that, Annette?
I'm not completely sure. I think we're quite similar, or maybe at least a little bit faster. But maybe now the boys also got a flatter kite. I think it's more even. I think before we were slightly faster in the.
Oh dear! It's going badly wrong for the Germans here, and that's a capsize when they had a nice lead. And Annemiek, what do you think went wrong there?
It looks like she went in and the boat hit the wave. So I think the timing was a bit off, it looks like, on the waves.
And
but they are so short that, yeah, it looks painful.
Well, I guess you sail on the IJsselmeer sometimes, and this reminds me a little bit of the IJsselmeer, but nothing's quite as difficult as the IJsselmeer, is it?
No, we also get surprised by the IJsselmeer still.
Yeah, who doesn't? Who doesn't? And I'm guessing you've probably broken a mast or two there as well, bouncing it.
Yeah, we did. A lot of mud in the mainsail.
Oh, it's looking a bit dodgy for the Danes as well. I normally expect amazing boat handling from the Danes, but it looks like everyone is struggling a little bit with these choppy conditions. So maybe that IJsselmeer training is working well for you right now as you move into the lead. Annette, you're probably just trying to draw breath at this point, getting, another capsize. It's all going on. And this is critical for you. I don't know when you first noticed, Annette, that the Brazilians have capsized. What does that mean? And do you even stop to think about that during the race?
Well, what you were saying, because we had, it was quite an intense boat handling situation. I was just dropping the kite and continual sailing. So I don't think we noticed that quickly, actually. We were quite busy with ourselves at this moment to get a nice rounding in. And I think of course it means a lot to us, because when we realized, it was like, actually at the moment we are winning. But still it was quite tense because it was super windy, super choppy. So we still needed to get our own boat around the course.
Absolutely. So you can never afford to relax, can you? Even when you see the opposition, it doesn't really change what you do. You've still got a boat that's extremely difficult to sail, and it would be perfectly possible for you to make a similar mistake on the final run to the finish coming up in a few minutes' time. Annemiek, when did you first notice that the Brazilians had capsized?
Well,
you didn't even know, did you? You'd never seen this before.
No, I noticed. I remember going around the lewards and going around first. So I think I said to Annette, okay, we are leading. Let's keep it simple. Let's do our own thing. And then I look around a bit more and I see that there are a few boats capsized. So I said, a few boats are capsized. And then we continue and I try to look the Brazilians, because we are still fighting for that world title 1-on-1. And then I can't see them. And then I look again. And then I said to Annette, I think the Brazilians are capsized. And then I think I said, but okay, let's focus on ourselves, because it's so tricky, like we've been talking about. Let's not get happy or too relaxed or too comfortable. We went the other way, like, okay, let's keep racing, let's keep fighting, let's sail sensible. Let's not get in situations with other boats, because if we capsize, then we give them another opportunity. Because I didn't see that they capsized on the mark and were upside down. I thought they will be back up, and they followed the pack. So I think instead of that it relaxed us, it made us extra sharp. Like, okay, we are in this great position. We have all the control. Let's be super sharp and let's focus. Yeah.
So super sharp doesn't mean being super conservative then. That means just stay focused.
Yeah, no, I don't think you want to be conservative at all in these conditions, but super focused and very precise on, okay, we're going to tack here, we're going to do it like this. There is a situation coming. So not making situations tense or try to not get in crash situations. Yeah.
Yes. Let me just see if I can just go back to this replay of the German capsize. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I think as soon as she goes in, the bow hits, and then you cannot steer, and the boat heels, and you are out.
Right, here's the rounding. Your rounding looks pretty neat, but what's going on here? The kite's still up and they're down at the leeward mark. They just left their drop too late, surely.
Yeah.
The kite is fully hoisted and they're already at the leeward gate. So someone forgot to say we need to get the kite down by the look of it.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's a really difficult moment, I think, because you need to do it really early, and then at the moment you're sort of hitting the mark, you also don't think, oh, actually I'm going in, because at that moment you're even going deeper. So I think it's very tricky. You need to be really early on dropping the kites.
Yes, which is in those choppy conditions, sometimes the crew can't run in at any moment. You've got to pick your moment as well, don't you? Otherwise, if you run in at the wrong moment, you could well end up nosediving as well. So without wanting to be too critical, it's easy for me to say they should have got the kite down. It's much more difficult to do it when you're out there.
Yeah,
So,
and what also could have been an option that they maybe wanted to sail through the leewards and then drop, but they just couldn't make it, I think.
yeah. Okay, well, critical moment for you, but the race is not yet over. You've still got work to do, and we see Maloney and Meach coming up towards the front of the fleet. We haven't had much to say about Alex Maloney or Molly Meach up until now, but they seem to be going fast, and they look like they're your biggest threat to winning this medal race now, girls. So, Annette, I know that primarily probably as the crew you're focused on boat speed, but how much are you aware of the New Zealanders to leeward of you?
I think we were quite aware of them. And what we were saying before was that we had the feeling that we should either pick like one side of the island or the other side. So I think we were also quite confident in the lane that we had at that moment, or we were quite happy. But of course we said like, oh, actually it's a really smart thing to do. They tacked out on a good angle. So yeah.
And what do you think about their style here? The boat, the New Zealand boat looks fast to me, but a slight bit of leeward heel compared with some of the other boats is what I see. I don't know if that's a consistent thing for them. Annette, what do you think about their sailing style?
I think it looks fast. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky if it's really windy to keep the boat really flat. But yeah, it looks quite fast to me, I think.
And what about yours? How do you rate your own style seeing these pictures here?
I would also say a little bit blue.
Oh, someone wants to get involved in the call.
Yeah, sorry.
Now I can't see any daggerboard up. I thought maybe you'd have some daggerboard up in these conditions. Would you have had any up on today's race, do you think, Annemiek?
Yeah, it would make sense if we would have it up. I can't see it either, but I think so. Yes, right?
Maybe there's a little bit.
Yeah. Or we thought it was not necessary.
Well, you're clearly going fast, so it doesn't matter too much. So just gone into.
Oh no, it's up. It's up.
Oh, it is up. There we see it. It is up. So another smooth tack. So you're making these tacks look very, very easy. There's a tack that hasn't been so well executed by the Brits. So you've sailed straight over the top of the British. You must be really happy, Annemiek, with the consistency of your maneuvers here.
I think in the windy stuff, the handling does make a difference.
For sure, we know that it does, but to execute it consistently, that's the hard bit. You seem to be doing it, but is that something you've worked hard on doing?
I think we do it a lot, and I think the more you do it, the more confidence you build. And in the end, I think, especially in the race, we were just talking about not being conservative. I think that's for us super important to really go into a windy race and race it, and not hold back, and don't be afraid.
Let's see if you're afraid on the Bearaway. Are you afraid on the Bearaway? You look like you get away with it, and the Jenica goes up. There's that critical moment, Annette, on these hoists where the Jenica comes out of the chute, and if you don't hoist it really quickly, it could drop in the water. Is that something that concerns you during the hoist?
Now, of course, you always try to hoist it as quick as possible. And I think Annemiek helps a little bit by that. That if you make a really nice rounding, then you should be quick enough to actually get it up. But sometimes Annemiek warns me if there's a wave coming or something like that.
Right, yes. But as you say, it's also partly the heel of the boat, and that's down to if the helm is steering the boat correctly as well. So you're doing big speeds now.
Yeah, because this, I remember, I think here the wind picked up a little bit, or we got hit by a very, very big gust. And it was like full on. Sometimes on the helm you feel like, okay, this is it. I need super focus to keep the boat straight, and Annette is full on with the kite to not get the pitch ball in. But then you get close to ley line, and when the wind is up, then sometimes it's so loaded on the rudder and the sheets that I think often before a jibe you can feel this is going to be like a normal jibe or this is going to be super windy jibe. And here we thought, you see me looking as well, like, ooh, yeah, let's wait, no, yes. You also don't want to go over ley line because it's shit. Yeah, but in the end.
So do you remember, did you manage to jibe where you wanted to jibe, or were the waves too steep at the time? You had to carry on longer than you thought?
No, we carried on longer because we went in the end quite late. And I think before the jibe, I already said, you see us jibing here.
Whoa, it's not a high-speed jibe. Oof.
No, it's not a good one. But I think here already, because it was such a tricky jibe, we said, let's drop it. You do not want to come in over ley line and then need to do another drop.
So now you've got the Brits. Are the Brits going to try and hang on to their kite? Are they going to make it through holding on to their kite and overtake you? I guess you're thinking about the bigger picture, though, are you, Annemiek? Yeah. You're thinking about where the Brazilians are.
Yeah, so this looks super lame, and it felt a little bit like, shit, but we were so happy because you see the British out of control and the Danes as well flapping, and we said we do not need any risky situations. We do not need this, what they are doing. We just need to finish and get a good position. So we were super happy with what we were doing, although it looks a little bit lame. But
it looks very lame. I think you should have points taken away for that.
We were so happy with this decision, like, let's jibe, let's get it across, and then we could celebrate.
Well, at least you're celebrating. I think the coach should have a word with you about the way that you won that World Championship. But anyway, congratulations. That was a race of survival, but now, oh no. But was that intentional, or did you mean to do that?
Yeah, this often happens, that we then think, and then the boat, yeah.
You really need it, if you lose a little bit of focus, you're just very happy, and then it happens, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that was good acting. If you actually made that happen, it looked like it sort of happened to you, and it was by accident. But who cares? You've just won the World Championship.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what we were thinking as well. Doesn't matter. Let's celebrate.
Fantastic. Annette, how does winning this World Championship compare with the one that you won in Aarhus in 2018?
I think both of them were different, and both of them were very nice. I think it was also a little bit different because we were already, like the past few days in this event, we were already in first position or second position. So we were actually really almost sort of defending your first place. So it's a whole different feeling, but it was very nice as well.
Fantastic.
Out of Aarhus, it didn't come as a surprise, but we were like, oh, whoa, we won it, or we did it in a manor race, and here we had a really steady event in Auckland.
And Annemiek, we just saw your coach there. Do you just want to give a shout out to your coach, who that is, and how long you've been working with them?
Yeah, so we are working with Ellen Stein since 2018. And it's great. We have a really good team with the three of us. Well, he's an old 49er sailor himself. He went to the games. He's very, very good, very talented. And yeah, he's a great help to the team. And yeah, one of his biggest strengths, which is for us perfect, is that he keeps his excitement levels very consistent throughout the weeks. So we don't notice it if it's the first day or the medal race day, or although he's also excited and nervous, but he will always approach us and help us the same way and make sure we focus on the right things. And yeah, he really helps us perform at those big events where the pressure is a bit higher.
And will Alan be going with you to Tokyo 2021, Annette?
Yes, he will. It's very nice. Actually, I think Aarhus was his first event with us, so I think we got a pretty good coach.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you've had an amazing track record since you won those first worlds in Aarhus in 2018. Yeah. Let's come back, just the three of us. And so then there was we won't spend too long on the 2020 worlds, but we saw a completely different set of sailors come to the front of the fleet in Geelong for the 2020 worlds. Remind me, Annemiek, where did you finish? Or if you don't remember, I know Annette will.
8, I think.
Was it 8? Is she correct, Annette?
Yes, she is.
Yes.
So at least you made the medal race. I'm sure you weren't happy with 8th, but there were others like the Brazilians, the reigning Olympic champions, that didn't even make it into the medal race. And we've seen Tamara Etchegoyen win the Worlds back in 2016. But who would have thought that she would have won the Worlds in 2020? Because I think in the 2019 Worlds, the ones that we've just talked about, the ones that you won, I think Tamara and Paula were 22nd. So what is going on with the 49er FX fleet? And can anyone honestly say that they are going to be the favorite going to Tokyo as things stand right now? And Annemiek, I'll ask you.
So I think from our perspective, or what happened a bit to us, is that the worlds were so close to each other. And after winning the one in 2019, it was quite hard to have some downtime and build up to the next one. So that was one of the things that we struggled a little bit with. And I don't know for other teams, but that was for us. And Tamara and Paula, they have been doing really good, but they haven't been able to race the events like they wanted to because of injuries and all that. So for us, I don't think it was that much of a surprise. And I think the conditions in Geelong were quite specific with the flat water and the wind. And I think being tall was definitely helpful for going fast. But you still need to sail smart. And I think that's what they did. The same for the British, that they went fast and they made the right decisions. And I think for us, it was a bit of a combination of everything. We couldn't really get into the rhythm, and we struggled. And then, it didn't work out like we wanted to, but enough learning points. But looking at the games 2021, it's such a long way. And I don't think you can say there are any favorites yet, because there's another year to come.
No, I'm sure that's right. Annette, the Enoshima, the venue for the games itself, you can get such a variety of conditions there. But the ones that are the most extreme surely are when the wind is blowing on shore and you get those enormous waves. What's it like sailing a 49er FX in those conditions?
We really, really enjoy those conditions. We really enjoy playing in the waves, or we also feel like it's more like playing and surfing. And I think it can be really tricky, but it can also be lots of fun to actually, if you do it well and you make the boat go fast and you surf the right waves downwind. It's a lot of fun.
And in terms of the lockdown now, how much are you in communication with each other? And Annemiek, in what ways are you still managing to improve as sailors, even though you're not getting much time on the water?
Yeah, so we do a lot of Zoom meetings, Skype meetings, just to check in and work on the program. And we have all these little projects we do on the background. twice a week or so. And then I think that you're not sailing on the water doesn't mean you cannot do other stuff. So we try to put some time into other stuff that you normally don't do. And same, we talked about the physical. We do a lot of biking. Almost every day we're biking and in the gym. So I think those things are nice. And then when you go sailing again, you have high motivation and you can make some hours on the water again. I think not sailing now is not a problem.
And so, well, you do have more than a year to go to the games. In terms of what regattas you might be doing next, Annette, what's your best guess about when the next regatta might be against some of the people that we were just watching in the video with you?
I think it will be really tricky, but yeah, you never know. But I think especially for the coming months, I think everyone probably will still be in their own country, maybe training by themselves. And it would be really good if you come to autumn or to winter time, if you get some good racing in. But I think at least everyone will be very excited if it's finally possible to get some good events.
Well, absolutely, yes. We wait with bated breath to actually see boats go sailing on the water again. But I've enjoyed watching you back through. I know that Annette knew exactly what was going to happen. I wasn't entirely sure, and I don't think Annemiek was. So there was some nice surprises for two of us watching that race back again. Annemiek and Annette, thanks for being such good sports. Thanks for joining me from the Netherlands. And I hope that you watching this have got something out of it and that you've been entertained and educated. And we will be back to you with more of these videos, these video replays from some of the great and the good from the NACRA, the 49er and the 49er FX fleets. For now, that's goodbye from me, Andy Rice, and it's goodbye from them.
Bye, thank you.